Hi everyone. So today I'm going to talk about my lip palette. I'm doing like a pan lip palette this year, and then I'm actually going to introduce also a eye palette that I recently got, and I'm really hoping that it will be my pan palette for the next year as well. As many of you know, my year is kind of offset just a little bit. I started a lot of my projects in November, and so and also I'm doing kind of like a big overall project from November to November. So I'm kind of just like really starting to intro things actually now, and especially as we go into like December and things, and holiday travel and things like that. I feel like this is a good time to intro it, and then I can kind of use it, over the next month or two as the holidays are kind of coming, and I'll be doing a lot more looks and things like that. Going to parties or going to events or going to see family or whatever. I feel like I'm going to be putting on a lot more faces and makeup. So I feel like this is a good time to kind of get in those, um, get excited about them, and then bring me into the new year. So let me do a quick update on my pan that lip palette, and then I'll introduce my potential eyeshadow palette of the year. So this is my MAC Viva Glam palette. I have a little sticker on here because it helps me know I'm doing this isn't part of another project. But basically, I've used this at least I think 5 or 6 times since I last talked about it, and yeah, I'm continuing to kind of like dig into the little corners here and work through it. The matte shadows are honestly really difficult, or like the creamier shades, like I just don't gravitate towards those. So I've been doing my best to kind of mix these darker ones with the paler one in the middle, and that one often works, or to mix it with kind of the luster, shimmer lipsticks over there. So I think I probably won't be updating this until next month. And I think at that point I would love to see a little pan in this one in that corner. Um I am hesitant to expand the pan in this one just because that's my favorite shade. That's the MAC Viva Gem 5, and that's the one that I would love to preserve for just as long as I can. Um and then but I would like to start seeing dips, I think, in at least these two here. This red one, I really don't think I'm going to gravitate towards that much other than this holiday season, so I don't expect too much from that one. And that always seems to be the case with a lot of palettes. I'm just like, everything but one I can really work on, and I just have to be creative with it. So I'll have to figure out a way. Maybe that'll become a blush product. I really like using lip products as blush and things like that. So yeah, that'll be my plan, but that's kind of where I'm at now. I won't be really keeping numbers or weights or anything like that. I don't have all the equipment to do that. And also, I just like when I put on my makeup, I really just want to enjoy it and use it as a creative time and not necessarily be like one more check mark, off the list. Um, that's kind of I realized as much as I try to track, sometimes it just becomes more challenging. So I think hoping posting kind of regularly will help me keep me on track. And then a palette I just got this week, which kind of gave me this idea. As many of you have seen, I use this MAC Freedom palette as my eyeshadow pretty much exclusively for this entire year. And I thought that this was my system. I thought that Freedom palettes would be the way to go. I thought that I would want single shadows that fit into my Freedom palette. And honestly, with the pans that you see in here, it's worked really well, right? And but I think what this is, I think when I got the other palette, which I didn't really need, I never will need another eyeshadow to be honest. But it was like one of those things where this is always going to be my go-to. These work so well for me. I love the payoff. I love the way it looks. This is like it's never going to fail, and I have plenty of other single shadows that can go into this palette if I ever finish them up. But I really don't have any I don't have any new formulas, and I think that's something I want to, especially as I hear about new formulas and new ways that things, like eyeshadows being made. I would love to experiment more with them. So I think going forward, I would love to quote treat myself to a new palette every single year where it's kind of new and innovative and something different to my collection, and then use that one as my pan that palette for the coming year and at least make some good effort and good dents in it. And then I always love repurposing packaging and things like that, so I can also see myself after that year is done if I'm like that's it for those shadows. I don't want to use them anymore. And then I can just repress those, franken them into, you know, my single shadow, like mix them in with my Franken shadows and single shadows and freedom palettes, and then use the palette to maybe present something different or like, you know, use it for something else. So I'm sure you're um, have lots of anticipation for what I'm going to share. So, as you know, House Labs by Lady Gaga, they came out with a palette about a month and a half ago. It hasn't gotten great reviews. I like acknowledge that. But and it went on like super sale at Sephora. It went from like $45 to like 24, and then they just had like their 20% off sale. That just like kind of came up randomly after the Black Friday stuff. And so I picked this up. This was about 20 bucks. This is the Haus Labs Volume 2, the Super Neutrals. And again, the lipstick lesbians has turned me on this product too. First it was a tubing mascara, and now it's this palette. I think Alexis talked a lot about this one and how just how the way it's formulated and the way it's like put into the compact is kind of a really unique way it's done on the market right now. So I really wanted to see it for myself. This is not a palette I would have picked up on my own, to be honest. It's but I feel it was either super warm toned or this is the cool toned one. And I've been starting to tell myself or realize for myself that I am a cool toned girly. Like um a lot of warm shades don't actually look that great on me. I love my like pinkish eyeshadows, but honestly a little bit cooler pink than I think I sometimes anticipate. So not as much the bronzy shades and things like that. Um, so yeah, so I feel like I really want to try this for myself. I just picked it up this week. There is still the possibility of a return, but I really want to try to make this work for me. And what's been cool is that I mean the swatches are amazing. Like if you let me do the three like shimmer glitter ones. Um like they look really nice. Right? But I think it's the application for a lot of people that's the trouble. And like even as I swatch it onto my hand, you can see it's kind of like sheared out a little bit. It's not as potent, and that's okay with me. Like why do I need full application of this every single time, especially if I'm wearing this day to day? It doesn't really make sense. So so yeah, so I think as you can see, I've already had a little bit of use on it, and this isn't a dip, by the way. It's because I've tried mixing these two, so it looks a little bit like a dip. Um, but yeah, I think that this is something that I want to experiment more with. Like I'm finding that this one's super shimmery in its own, but if I mix these two, it actually dulls it down and makes it a lot more wearable. This pink one's actually really pretty mixed together and makes it more of the shade that I typically go for. And even just a mix of these three shades is really wearable as well. And then this glitter one again is a problem. And actually, what's funny is this is a 6-pan palette, just like my lip palette. But this glittery one is too light. It just it gives off like really silvery to me. It's a little bit of an olive, but it's more silver than anything else, I think. So what I might do is actually incorporate this more into like nails and things like that. And then kind of the majority of the time I'll be using these on my eyes. And actually I need to make some of my Christmas cards. I like to hand make and DIY a lot of stuff. So I might actually see if I can use this to decorate my Christmas cards. Is that a weird idea? Yes, but that's kind of what I do with my makeup. I tried to have some creative uses for the ones that don't quite work for my face, but I can work in for the rest of my life here. So I'll give you guys updates. I'm hoping now that I have shown this online, I will go ahead and keep this and work on it over the next year. And then, oh gosh, I just gouged it. Sad. It's really soft formula too. Um, but I'm hoping over the next year that you know, I'll make some decent progress with it, and then from there, so I'm like trying to like fix my palette all of a sudden. Sad. um and then from there, like if I can, I'm hoping to hit pan on these five, and then from there kind of figure out if I want to roll any over, keep them in this palette, or just to take them all out and maybe use this as like a lip palette or something instead. So trying to be creative with what I have and what I have in my collection. But that's the plan. So these two are going to be what I'll be using over the next year, and you'll see some regular updates on this. So thanks so much for watching, and if you have any questions or comments about my plan, let me know. Would love to hear. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.